This week, we're going to cover links and images. And so there is quite a bit of material that we're going to be going through. For images, not only will you learn how to insert images in your pages, but you're also going to learn how to do some basic editing of images. So for the web-based readings, these are the different pages that you need to look at. LunaPic is an online photo editor that we are going to be using to do just some basic edits. It does not require that you download any software. You can do it right in the web browser. So I'll show you how to do some of the things in LunaPic, but you can see there's quite a few tutorials that are online. So, if you want to learn more about LunaPic, I've provided some links for you. Once you finish those web readings, you're going to go into the lecture, which is actually split into three parts. The first part is on the different image formats that we use in our web pages, and also how to edit those images. Okay, so when you go through here, we'll first talk about the different types of images, and then a couple sites where you can get software to create animated GIFs, or sites where you can download them from. And then we've got JPEG file information and PNG file information. We talk a little bit about SVG graphics, but that is kind of beyond the scope of this class. SVG is vector graphic, and you can actually use SVG code to create graphics in your web pages. So I just included that information. Also, there is a free program that will convert drawings into SVG. So I've got a link to that. And then I've also included a link to XML information because in order to use SVG, you do need to be familiar with that. Then we get into the section on preparing the graphics for the web. And as I mentioned, we're going to be using LunaPic, and here is a link to that address. A lot of people like using Photoshop, which is fine. If you have Photoshop, go ahead and use it. I mean, if you look at my toolbar down here, you can see I have a couple different versions of it installed. Another program that people like is called GIMP. It's like a knockoff, a Photoshop knockoff that is free. So, if you guys are familiar with using a different program for editing, by all means, feel free to use it. What we're going to kind of take a look at is how to resample, how to crop images, and how to do some, basic color adjustments. Okay, and so all of this information is explained. If you scroll through here, you'll see lots of screenshots. Okay. And kind of explaining how you go about changing the size of these images, how you go about cropping the images. And as you scroll down, you'll see there's also information on adjusting color and applying special effects. Once you have your images all formatted and set for pages, then you can go through this little section on how to add images to your HTML. And there's really one tag that we use. It's the image tag. Okay, so we talk about the image tag, and inside the image tag, there are attributes that are required. Source is required because That gives the name of your image file. And then alt text is not required, but it is highly recommended because for people who are visually impaired, that is what the screen reader will read. Okay, so we talk about the alt attribute, we talk about the source attribute, and a couple additional attributes that you can use with that image tag. Okay, once we're done with images, then we get into hyperlinks. And for hyperlinks, you can link from one section of a page to another. That would be an internal link. You can also link to other pages that you have created or pages that other people have created. And we're going to talk about how to link to all of those different page types. Plus, we will talk about how to link to PDF files and PowerPoint slideshows and things that aren't web pages. Okay, so this document discusses how to do all those different types of links. So there is a ton to cover this week. I would recommend doing the image formatting in one session and doing the hyperlinks in a different one. Because if you try to sit down and do all this at the same time, it's a lot. Okay, so I would split it into two. That is just my recommendation on how to make it a little bit more manageable. Once you get done with the lecture demo, then you're going to go through the textbook assignment, which is more directive, just like the last one. There are videos that explain how to do everything. And there's also files that you're going to have to download. Okay, and you can pretty much walk through this and follow right along with the videos. I do recommend that you play those videos, on a mobile device, or if you have two monitors, play them on a second monitor, and then you can open up VS Code and complete the assignment while you are watching the video. That is the fastest, easiest way to get the assignment done. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, okay, you can see what you need to transfer to the web and how many points things are worth. Once you finish that assignment and you get it all transferred, then you're going to go into the Dropbox and you're going to submit done. Okay, and then you'll move on to the lab assignment, which is going to give you a little bit more practice working with images and links. So for the lab assignment, the first part is to create a page that allows you to display and hide content, kind of like this. But you're going to have three of these that are related. So if I was going to do big cats, I would have a tiger and then I'd have two more types of cats. Or maybe if I was going to choose bridges, I would do Brooklyn Bridge and maybe the Mackinac Bridge and another one. Okay, but you're going to need three of them. And your graphics, you need a web optimized graphic and you need a thumbnail. Okay, so here's my thumbnail. And if I click on it, it takes me to the web optimized graphic. So that is exactly what you're going to want as well. And then as far as the text that you display, it is perfectly okay to copy it from a source as long as you cite the source that you copied it from. So this is a direct quote. So I put it in double quotes and then I gave the source. Okay, so you don't really have to make up or, feel like you have to write all of the text yourself. It's perfectly okay to copy it. Okay, I did the same thing with the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay, and you can see I say where I retrieved it from and the date. Okay, and so I've also shown you what the code looks like. And in addition to that, I kind of showed you what the code looks like for my big cat page, which that tiger was part of. Okay, and then if you wanted to see the live example, I've got that here as well. So that's part one. Part two is updating your assignment page with links. So that text that we have added as paragraphs, you are going to convert over into links. So please watch the video because it does walk you through how to do that and kind of warns you, if you guys didn't name your folders and files the same as mine, then your links need to look different. Okay, so make sure you watch that video. Part three, adding a background graphic to your assignment page. Here's a little link to a site you can go to. There's actually two options. You can go to this site and get a background, and I've got a video on how to do that. But you could also put a photograph in the background. Okay, and so if you put a photo in the background, quite often it's going to be too dark to display text on top of it. So I've got a little video here on how to adjust the transparency so that the background is lighter and you can see text that is on top. Okay, and then how do you get that background in your page? You're basically going to add it to your body tag just like this. Okay, and there's a video on that as well. Okay, and then once you have all of that done, I'm going to transfer those pages and come back in here and submit done to the Dropbox. As far as resources for this week, I've got several links to places where you can get free images. Okay, I personally like Pixabay. Students of mine in the past really liked Krita or Krita. So, feel free to use any of these. And for those of you that want to save your FTP information in FileZilla using the site manager, I've got information on that as well. Okay, and what does the site manager do? So the site manager lets you click the arrow and, pick what you want to connect to. You're still going to have to add the password, but you don't have to key in all this information. Okay, so that is what we have going on this week. There is a lot to complete, so please give yourself enough time to get it all done. If you run into problems or if you have any questions at all, please let me know. One of the main problems that people run into this week, especially, is that when you put things on the internet, it's all case sensitive. So upper and lower case make a difference. And your pictures are not going to show up if I had a lion picture and I named it with a capital L, but in my HTML, I used a lowercase l, it's not going to show up. Okay. And that's the same with your hyperlinks. The hyperlinks are also case sensitive. Okay. So that is the biggest problem that people run into this week. So if you run into problems, please let me know because I am here to help you.